How to install Ubuntu 22.04 Server Edition with GNOME Desktop on any Mac with Apple Silicon. Hey guys, it's KS Kiral here with a brand new video. This video shows how to install Ubuntu Server with GUI on M1 or M2 Mac using UTM. With UTM, you can run virtual machines in QEMU-based hypervisors or emulate other operating systems. This allows running Ubuntu with OpenGL hardware acceleration inside a virtual machine on a Mac with Apple Silicon. With Apple's powerful hypervisor virtualization framework, ARM64 OSS can be run at near native speeds on Apple Silicon. So without further ado, let's get into installing the Ubuntu server with GNOME Desktop on M1 or M2 Mac. First things first, this guide will work on any Mac with Apple Silicon. During the demonstration of this video, I'm using a MacBook Air with an M1 chip. Now as you can see, it runs macOS Monterey. To install Ubuntu 22.04 on M1 or any Mac with Apple Silicon, you must reserve 40 GB of free space or more. Then head over to these links using a web browser. Click on the first link in the description to go to this page. Then go ahead and download the UTM application. You can then download Ubuntu 22.04 Server Edition for ARM64 by clicking on the second link. For easier navigation, I'm going to move the Ubuntu image to the desktop once it has been downloaded. Then double tap on the UTM DMG file and drag the icon to the Applications folder. Now open the UTM application. This is the user interface of the UTM app. Let's go ahead and start creating a new virtual machine for Ubuntu. To do so, click on this button. Under the Start menu, you will see two options, Virtualize and Emulate. If you're installing ARM64 based operating systems on Apple Silicon, use Virtualize to simulate the bare metal performance. If you're installing any Intel or AMD based operating systems on Apple Silicon, use Emulation. So better use the OS that matches your computer architecture for faster performance. For now, choose Virtualize, then select Linux and import the Ubuntu server image file. Then for the hardware, allocate 4 GB of RAM and set CPU cores to 4. Lastly, enable the OpenGL hardware acceleration for a smoother experience. Then click on Continue. Now allocate the storage space for the Ubuntu virtual machine. Make sure it's not less than 30 GB. Now under the shared directory, you can allow any macOS folder to be accessed inside Ubuntu via HTTP web server. For now, I'm going to allow the desktop folder. Now name the virtual machine and click on Save. That's it. Now we are done creating a virtual machine for Ubuntu. On the right, you can see the information and settings of this virtual machine. Now click on Settings from top right. You can see that these are the default settings of the virtual machine. You can also alter these changes. For now, I will leave it to defaults. It's time to start the virtual machine. To do so, tap on the play button. Now select Ubuntu server. Keep in mind that when you tap inside a virtual machine, the cursor control will be bounded to the guest OS. To release, press Ctrl plus Option on your keyboard to get the control of the cursor back to the host OS. As you can see, it's booted into the live session. Before installing GNOME Desktop, we first complete installing the Ubuntu server. You can see the installer relies only on the keyboard. Just remember these keyboard shortcuts. You can use the up and down arrow keys for scrolling. The tab key helps in switching to the options. A spacebar can be used to select or unselect an item. The enter or written key is for the final confirmation. Now select the language and press the written key. Then select the keyboard layout. You can use the tab key to select the layout. I'm gonna select English keyboard and highlight the done button with the tab key and press the enter key. Now choose the Ubuntu server, which installs a set of packages that provide a comfortable experience for operating your server. Then click on Done. Now leave the network interface to default and click on Done. For now, I will put a blank proxy address. Now choose the entire virtual disk and click on Done. Just press the tab key to jump between options. Keep in mind that this won't erase anything inside a Mac OS. Then finish partitionizing the virtual disk. Now create a user account. Make sure you remember the username that you type here, which is needed for logging into the Ubuntu server. You can also enable the SSH server if you want to connect to Ubuntu VM from Mac OS. Just highlight the option with the tab key and press the spacebar to tick the option and click on Done. These are the popular snap environments you can use on the Ubuntu server. For now, I'm going to choose Docker and continue. That's it. Now the installer will start installing the Ubuntu server. It may take around 2 to 5 minutes, so sit back, relax, and grab some drinks. Once the installation is complete, turn off the virtual machine. Then open the UTM application, select the virtual machine, choose CD or DVD option and clear the image file. Now tap on the play button to start the virtual machine. This time it will boot into the Ubuntu server. For a moment, you will see some warnings and errors, just don't bother about it. Now wait for 10 seconds to see the login screen of Ubuntu. Now log in with your username and password. Voila! Now you can see the Ubuntu 22.04 server edition running inside a virtual machine on M1 Mac with Apple Silicon. It's time to set up a graphical user interface for the Ubuntu server. Just type these commands one by one. When typing this line, you must type the up arrow symbol at the end of this command. This will install a GNOME Desktop for the Ubuntu server. Sit back and relax. It may take a few minutes depending on the speed of your internet connection. Once it's done, type sudo reboot. This time, Ubuntu server will start with a GNOME Desktop. Now click on the username, then click on the settings gear icon and choose Ubuntu on XOR. Do not run the Ubuntu Desktop with the Wayland session. Now enter your password. Voila, we are inside the Ubuntu Desktop. Just look at the speed of Ubuntu, it's freaking fast. It feels like I'm running Ubuntu on bare metal. If you notice, the Ubuntu Desktop doesn't come with any browser, so let's install a Firefox browser. For that, open Terminal and run this command. If you detest using Firefox, you can also install a Chromium browser by running this command. As you can see, both browsers are running without any issues. If you notice one thing, most of the UI elements of the Ubuntu Desktop seem to be pixelated, and we are going to fix that issue in a bit. First, turn off the Ubuntu Desktop. Then head over to the virtual machine settings. Choose the display and enable Retina mode. Then turn on Ubuntu Virtual Machine. Inside Settings, choose the display and scale the resolution to 200%. Now you can see Ubuntu looks fantastic. Thanks to the hardware acceleration and Retina mode, the GNOME desktop runs buttery smooth. Lastly, open the terminal and type this command to add a support for VM guest editions. These tools allow access to shared directories of host OS. Also, it enables copying and pasting clipboard memory between guest and host OS. Once it's done, reboot the virtual machine. Now open Firefox and type this URL to access the shared directory. Now let's test out the clipboard sharing. I'm going to copy the URL from macOS and right-click to paste it inside a Ubuntu desktop. As you can see, it works without any issues. That's pretty much it. This is how you properly install Ubuntu server with GUI on any Mac with Apple Silicon. Let me know what you think about it in the comment section down below. If in case you like this video, hit the thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and consider hitting the bell button to see a versatile tech content. Thanks for watching. This has been KSK Ryle. I will see you at the next one.